Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the first episode of It's Matter of Fact. I'm your host, Matthew. But in my little corner of the internet, I'm known as MATTtheFUNNYman. On Twitch, I'm also known as MATTtheFUNNYman. I'm known as MATTtheFUNNYman in a lot of places. Now that we got introductions out of the way, let's get started. Welcome to the It's Matter of Fact podcast. This is the first of the many podcast episodes I'm going to be doing for a while. Because, besides Code and Iron Time, Skype sessions, I figured that, have a little maybe weekly, every other day, type of podcast. Just where it's just me and, just storytelling. For the most part, anything that's going on in my life, I figured let's talk about, just normal stuff. So, I figured why not? I got this beautiful, by the way, hashtag sellout, this beautiful blue brand snowball mic. It is very beautiful. A lot bigger than I originally thought it was. And it picks up my voice beautifully, by the way. So, alright, that's my sellout for the day. I'm going to try to maybe do these in the morning, for the most part, because, I don't know. I need a cup of coffee before I can start being social and talk to people, so. But I think that's anybody, to be honest. But okay. Right now, what's going on right now is the holidays are coming up, so that's pretty exciting. Oh, great, my cat's hyper. That's lovely. Is that the holidays are coming up, and already at my job, I work in retail, part time. And I'm a front end manager, so you already know my job's probably one of the hardest jobs on earth. Mentally, not physically. It can you have those jobs that's kind of like you're just mentally just destroyed and your body follows suit. It's kind of like you just can't take the mental abuse anymore. So then your body's just like, I can't take that either, man. Fuck it. That's my job, is that, especially when it comes to customers, because customer service is probably one of the worst jobs ever. Just based on what I used to deal with at my, at a Giant Food. Yes, I'm name dropping because fuck them, they're pieces of shit and they can kiss my ass. Is that there's a huge difference between grocery stores and retail. Huge difference. A lot of times people will say, no, it's the exact same. What are you talking about? There's a huge difference. One of the differences is that retail it's kind of 50-50-ish on when it's busy. Because obviously, one day it can be busy, one day it can be slow. I would say between Monday and Thursday are probably the slowest days of retail, versus if you're at a grocery store, it's usually busy mid-afternoon-ish, everyone's getting off of work 5-ish, 6-ish, usually busy. The only time I can say grocery stores aren't as busy is probably Sunday mornings. Mostly because everyone's hungover from Saturday, or they're going to church, or, and it usually doesn't pick up till maybe Sunday afternoon. So, if you, and by all means, use this as advice, if you want to, is go grocery shopping either Sunday morning, where everyone's still hungover, sleeper at church, or Sunday night. Sunday nights are probably the best time to go. Because most of the time, especially during football season, everyone's going to buy the stuff either before the game or during halftime. So Sunday nights, I would probably say, is the best time to go to grocery stores. When it comes to retail, this is the part when it's kind of retail and grocery stores are similar, is usually come when they first open. Like if Walmart opens at 9 a.m., get your ass over there by like 8:45, 8:50. Especially Walmart. Walmart's a horrible place. You would never catch me working in Walmart ever. But of course, another obvious thing that separates the grocery stores from retail is the first of the month. One of the worst things ever. It's the first of the month. Between the 1st and sometimes the 17th. But it's, 1st through the 15th. But every now and then you'll get those people that will, And here's another thing I don't understand is that a lot of times, or at least based on what I remember, or at least back home in D.C., is that when you're getting food stamps or any other type of, help from the government to get food, is that you have to get in that long ass line at one of those government buildings, or phone call. I don't really know how people do it. I think sometimes people call and make an appointment or some shit like that, or they stand in a long line outside of a building so they can get their food stamps for the month. But there's been times where I've gotten some people where they think that the money just automatically goes on their card automatically, which makes zero sense. And they'll be like, I just reloaded it today. And I'm like, well, it's not working. Sorry, bro. No, I can't do anything about it. And then they fucking get upset with you, talk to the manager, waste everyone's time. And then, of course, when the dust is all cleared, they're like, oh, well, I forgot to go to get the balance back on my card. So, and then everyone's upset. Versus retail, you don't have to deal with the first of the month at all. But I will say there's more complaints come to retail. I'll give you guys a couple examples. Since the holidays are coming up, a lot of people are complaining that the line is too long. But it's like even our loss prevention person even tells people, because I was on my lunch break, and a lot of times when I'm on my lunch break, even though a lot of times people will say, "Oh, it's your lunch. Don't worry about your job. Don't worry about it. Enjoy your lunch." I'm like, nah, I can't, because I feel like I still kind of need to be there physically just to make sure the front is running smooth, because that's my job. I'm supposed to take care of the front end. So it's kind of like, if there's no other front end manager there, then the upper management watches the front for me. And I'm thinking like, well, a lot of times they get called away and then, the front's, no one's running it. So like, I won't go up there or anything during my break, but I'll at least, observe what's going on. And some people, like yesterday, we were busy as shit yesterday. And people coming in, wow, oh my God, this line. Like, yeah, dude, we're halfway through November. Black Friday is in like, what, a week? Almost a week? A week from now, I think? So yeah, we're going to be busy. And a loss prevention person was saying this, and kind of condescending, but he wasn't being an asshole about it, but like kind of making the person say like, we're a month away from Christmas, almost a month away from Christmas, and people shouldn't be shocked that retailers are busy. Like me and my wife went to Walmart about a week ago, and the lines were fucking long. Like, and we were just picking up a couple things. And, like, every single line was long. Even self-checkout was long. And we were like, well, it is November. Like, we had the common sense to say, like, well, it is November. People are not only grocery shopping, but they're also buying Christmas shit. So we used our common sense saying, oh, well, yeah, that's why they're busy. And another good example for a complaint, because I got one, I think it was, when was it? I'm looking at my calendar. It was Wednesday that just passed. And we've been open for about 45 minutes. We open our store at 9 a.m. It's 9:45. All right? So around the time, we usually only have one cashier scheduled. We'll have one cashier scheduled at 8:45 to kind of get the front set up, and then the CSS or the front-end manager like me or someone else would come in around 10 o'clock. But, every now and then they might schedule us to come in at 9, like if we have a district manager coming in or like a visit or something like that. So this was the day where I had to come in at 9 o'clock, and I was preparing the front, so about 9:45, it starts to pick up a little bit, but not too bad. We have one cashier, so it's like, cashier comes in at 8:45. I come in at 9. The next cashier comes in like 10 o'clock, 10:15. There's like two other people in line. And a lot of times in the morning, we don't get too many big purchases in the morning. So, the guy that was next in line had like maybe 3 items. The guy behind him had like, I think about 4 items. Easy scan and go. One woman had like 2 items. And I'm reorganizing the queuing area. And she comes up to me saying, "You only have one cashier? This is not acceptable." I'm like, and of course it would be an old fucking lady. I'm like, first of all, lady, you're old as dirt. Why are you in a rush? Like I had the thought that old people were all slow, but I guess this one old lady just didn't have the time. I think the clock was ticking. Like, I gotta go back to the home. No offense to elderly people, but this specific old woman was in a major rush. And I'm like, oh, and of course, because there's sometimes where I can keep it professional, but also be an asshole at the same time, and that's one of the benefits of the job, especially if you're a manager, is that you can kind of low key be an asshole, but also remain professional at the same time. So I was blunt with her, and that's like, oh well, man, we've just opened. Now, when I say just open, I literally mean we've only been open for 45 minutes, ma'am. Whatever. And she's just like in disbelief that I told her that, because I'm like, well, yeah, we've only been open for 45 fucking minutes. What do you want me to do? And she was like, well, I have places I need to be. And of course, the asshole inside of me was like, what, the morgue? But I didn't say that. So I said, all right, ma'am, I can see if we have any associates on the floor that can ring you out. Thank you. Walks away. Surprisingly, I had someone on the floor, so they came up, rung her out. No attitude. A lot of times people give me looks after they get rung out, and of course, another favorite thing of mine that these customers do is, we'll be open for 25 minutes. And I would say 95% of transactions are done in the morning, or at least between like 9 and 10:30 a.m. Are returns. So a lot of times we'll have like, $100, $130 return. And, we only got, we just opened. I think anyone that works in retail or even grocery stores can tell you that a lot of the registers will not have 20s, 50s and shit, It's all counted from the night before from whoever works in audit or, who counts the registers at the end of the night. And at the end of the night, they got to reorganize the money for the next day. And, of course, it starts off with, or at least at our store, it starts with $200 per register. And then the change drawer, which is one register we had that keeps like, $600. That's like, tens, like $30, $40 in quarters, and, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of times people will do like $150, $200 return and get pissed at us that the fact that we had nothing but 5s and 1s. And it's like, dude, we just opened 15 minutes ago. You should not be pissed at me that the fact you're getting this back in 5s. And another thing that pisses me off is that, like, there's a Wells Fargo in the same parking lot. Go there and say, hey, man, can I get this in 20s? Like, people are so impatient when it comes to shit, especially at my store. It's just so ridiculous on how just not even impatient, but so rude, inconsiderate, selfish. It's just so sad and painful. There's been a couple of times where I've almost had a fucking mental breakdown at this store. The fact that I haven't even quit yet is surprising. But at the same time, I enjoy it, and this job's treating me way better than Giant did. I feel like Giant Food treated me like a piece of shit, and we're assholes. You know, even because I'm not one of those like people that were just like a lazy, shitty employee. Like I went from stock to the front where I'm pushing carts, and I pushed carts for God knows how long. I think I actually lost weight and gained muscle mass while I did that. But as soon as I became a cashier, I gained all that weight back. Because standing in one spot versus moving around for 4 to 5 hours, pushing, 30 plus carts, every other minute. So, I mean, if it ever came down to it where YouTube and Twitch extremely worked out, I've actually contemplated on, like, would I push carts again just as a part-time job, just to like get a consistent pay every week while I waited for the Twitch and YouTube checks to come in. I mean, I thought about it and I was just like, I'd be fine with it, but at the same time, I wouldn't be, because that's a lot of pay I'm leaving from being a front-end manager, because I'm getting paid way more as a front-end manager than I did when I was pushing carts. And the funny thing is that I had to step down at one point because of an issue that I'm not going to drop any names though, because I'm still employed by them. Is that someone had an issue with me, and they gave me a 90-day observation quota. As I do air quotations, 90 days. Now here's the whole thing about 90 days is that when you're in a meeting with your boss and your boss's boss, and they say, we'll put you under a 90-day observation. That's not 90 days to see if you're going to be better. That's 90 days for you to find another job and get the hell out of there. That's 90 days you have to be employed and get the fuck out. So I worked for like 60 of those days, and then I'm like, I truly know I'm gonna get fucked over, and last thing I want to do, because it took me like 6 months to find this job. And last thing I want to do is, because I'm one of those employees where you tell me to do something, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm not gonna fucking argue with you or be like, hey, we should do it this way. Like, I'm not gonna argue with me. If you tell me to jump, I'll say how high, because you're paying me to do it. Now I can understand you ask me to do a bunch of other shit that's not in my job description. Then yeah, I'll be pissed at you. But if my job is to clean something up and you say like, hey, go clean, I'll be like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what you're paying me to do. But, I worked for about 60 of those 90 days. And after that, I was just like, fuck this. I'm going to lose my job. So of course, I knew a little loophole because, this is only my second job, technically. I'm not counting my summer job because, that wasn't an all year round thing. It was just like, a couple summers that I worked. So technically this is like my only second job. So I'm 27 years old and I've only had 2 jobs. There are people my age right now that are like on their 15th and 20th job, which shocks me because it's kind of like when people are doing applications and they see how many jobs you have, and because like last I checked when I did my application for the job I'm at now, you have to list dates on how long you were at each of these jobs. So it's kind of like, they'll look at you and be like, oh, wow, this person's worked, in finances. This person's worked in grocery stuff. But that's the thing, is that it's cool because it's going to make your application look good that, you have like 30 fucking jobs listed. But they're going to see that, like, I feel like they don't pay attention to, like, that time frame, like, in between each job. And, there's some people that I know that said, like, oh, yeah, I got a job. Then, like, 3 months later, oh, I'm putting in applications again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, didn't you just get that job, dude? But I don't say nothing. And, I was with Giant Food for, like, 5 years? Almost 5.5 years? Well, I don't know. Anyway, back to customers, because I feel like this is probably going to be the topic for a majority of it. Is that besides customers complaining about there only being one cashier, we've only been open for 15 fucking minutes in the store. And the fact that the holidays are coming up and people are probably going to complain why the fucking line is so long. And like even last year, I've gotten complaints from customers saying, why is it so long? And it's like a week before Christmas. It's like Christmas is on the 25th. It's a week from then. And I tell people, I'm spitting all over the mic. And I'm telling people that, like, oh, why is the line so long? This is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. And I'm like, well, sir, it's a week before Christmas. Everyone's buying shit. Everyone is putting stuff on layaway or picking up their layaway. We have like a lot of layaways put on, like at least between November and December, and between those times, those layaways are going to be good for 2 months. So a lot of people are putting on their layaways now. That way, by the time the 24th, 23rd get around, then we're going to have a shit ton of pickups. And, layaway processes take a little bit longer than regular transactions because, you got to put in the customer's first, last name. You got to put down their phone number, or you got to scan their ID so all their information's correct because, we have, like, our layaways are set up between 1001 to 1455. So that's 455 fucking layaways, so we have to get each individual person's information so that way it's easy to find when they pick it up. So that's, because I think it was like last week I had two cashiers that day. Both of them were doing layaways. I'm like, shit. I'm like, hey, I need someone from the floor to come up front. The person comes up front, takes the customer in line. Oh, Matt, you're going to need someone else. This is a layaway. I'm like, shit. All right, guys, I'm going to need one more person up front for backup. Another person comes up. Hey, Matt, I'm doing a layaway too. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? All right, guys, I need one more person to come for backup. And then eventually, yeah. So, that was fun. But there's we've had a lot of new managers come and go, and the new set of managers that we have, or at least assistant store managers, I should say, because we've had the same store manager for a while now. But a couple of the new assistant store managers I truly love. It's a great team, especially because the fact that like they share the same kind of the same vision I have towards customers and stuff like that. Where there's been times where I've worked with this individual. Like I said, I'm not going to name drop because they could be listening. Who knows? Is that a lot of times if we get a customer complaint or something like that and they walk out of the store, I usually like to tell who's ever the manager in charge, just so like in case, because a lot of times we'll have people that would be like, hey, I want to return this. I'll be like, oh, do you have your receipt? Oh no, I don't have my receipt. Did you leave your phone number? We usually take people's phone numbers down in the system so that way we can pull up transactions. So we're like, hey man, did you leave your phone number? No, I didn't want to give out my phone number. Okay, did you pay with a debit or credit card? We can check the system if you paid with those cards. Oh no, sorry man, I paid with cash. Oh, sorry man, you can't return your shit then. System won't let it. This is bullshit. Fuck y'all. Leave. So a lot of times I'll have to go to the manager saying like, hey, because there's a lot of times where people will try to return shit, and a lot of times they'll think that I won't be there 2 hours later after they leave. Haha, joke's on them. I'm still there. So they'll like try to come back like 2 hours later to try to return the same shit, thinking I'm not going to be there, and be like, hey, yeah, you tried to return this earlier. No. So a lot of times, because of that, I'll have to tell the man, I'll have to tell whoever the manager in charge, saying like, hey, this guy was kind of a douchebag, and he didn't want to, he's going to try to come back and return stuff. And a lot of times, some of the managers I have will be like, oh yeah, fuck that guy, he's a douchebag. And I'm like, yes! I love it when managers do that, because a lot of times I feel like like if you tell a manager like, hey, this guy did this, this, and this, and they'll be like, oh, well, just give him customer service, suck their dick. But the managers we have now, they'll just be like, yeah, I saw that guy come in. He looked like he was going to be a douchebag anyway. Fuck him. I was like, yes, yes. So at least it's even like our store manager. I mean, not like fuck him, but they'll be like, hey, did you tell him like how returns work? I was like, yeah, I tell him, and store manager will be like, well, that's all we can do. If they want to, they can just go to another location to see if they can return it. See if their store manager will approve. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Like that's what I love about my team, is that we're more how can I put this? More realistic when it comes to customers, because they all know that we're going to get a group of douchebags coming into the store, start issues or start arguments because they didn't have the receipt, and claim like, oh, well, I gave them my number. And it's kind of like, well, I understand you may have given us your phone number for a possible return, but at the same time, how do we know? There's been a few times where they were like, oh, yeah, that person right there took me, and I was like, okay, yeah, do you know what day that was? And I'm like, oh, it was Tuesday. Yeah, they weren't here on Tuesday. And it's like it's just so dumb. And I've talked about this on Facebook and Twitter a few times, but I have a scientific theory. And you guys can back me up on this if you want to. And if any of the greatest minds of our generation can also do a study on this and then report it back to me with any findings or paperwork or research that they did on it, is that I truly think no matter where they go, like just the basic customer, I would say a good majority of customers, when they walk into a place of business, I would say for the most part retail or grocery stores. Because, like I've been to nail places, beauty supply stores, and stuff like that. And, I don't see it too much there. But, big businesses like Walmart and, places like that, is that I truly think when soon as they walk through the door, their IQ drops between 35 to 75%. That's my theory. Like, someone will be talking about calculus, and as soon as they walk through the door, they'll sing the alphabet. Or a nursery rhyme. They'll be like, the calculus of the manifestation of a da twinkle twinkle little star. Like shit like as soon as they walk in the door. The hypotenuse of mathematics. Like I truly think as soon as the doors open up and the first foot is stepped into the place of business, their IQ just fucking plummets. I truly think that. And as soon as they walk back out, it's kind of like they snap right back into reality. And they'll be like, oh, what happened? So, the greatest minds of our generation can follow up on that. I would graciously appreciate it. But the amount of complete and another thing is that I feel like places of businesses have lost touch. Like they're so hell bent on customer service is that customers will treat them in any sort of way and they have to take it. And if anyone is listening to this that works at a place of business in any type of management position, you are not required to kiss the customer's ass or suck their dick. All right, that saying where the customer is always right, I'm a strong disbeliever of that, if I should say. The customer is not always right. Because you want to know why? Here's what it is right here. This is how you know customers aren't always right. Because if the customer was always right, why are they always complaining? Why do we have to hold their hand throughout the whole fucking thing? Like, do transactions and all that? Because I've seen grown-ass people, like, not like elderly fucking people. People that are, like, maybe in, like, their late 30s and 40s. Don't know how to use a fucking debit card. And they'll be like, and I'm like, dude, you're like 15 years older than me. You should know how a fucking debit card works. Like, the chip and everything. As soon as I got the chip, I fucking knew immediately how to use it. Like, oh, yeah, you just stick the thing in the machine. Hey, it's like a vagina. Stick your dick in it. But there are people that are, like, literally maybe 20 years older than me at most that don't know how to use a fucking debit card. And I have to walk to say, oh, yeah, I had to stick it in the bottom. And why the fuck do I have to show a customer where the fucking debit card goes? When there's literally a sign. I think every single type of machine that takes debit or credit cards has a little sign, a little sign at the bottom that shows how to fucking do it. And I still have to walk them through it. Hold their hand, like I said, on how to process a fucking debit card. Now, I can understand if you swipe by mistake and it goes, and then it's like, oh yeah, I gotta use my card. Now, that's understandable because I've done that a few times, because there's some places that still don't take the chip, surprisingly. Some places still require you to swipe. So I can understand that. But the fact that I have to walk you through it while there's a fucking sign in your face on how to use the chip function on your debit card, and you're only a few years older than me, I should not have to hold your hand through the process. Okay? Now, if the customer was always right, they would be the ones making up prices for shit. Like if something's $7.99, they'll be like, no, this is $5.99. You know what? You're absolutely right. And just simple shit like that. The customer is not always fucking right. And here's another thing. If there's a customer, and this is for anyone that works in retail or grocery stores, this doesn't even require upper management. Or it probably will require it if you're like, like a cashier, an associate, or someone that, works in stock or something like that. But if there's a customer that swears at you, like if a customer's like, fuck you, you have the right to refuse service to that person. And I feel like there's a very small group of people that still know that. Everyone else is just hell on bent on sucking the customer's cock or vagina. That if a customer's like, you know what, fuck this is fucking bullshit, I want to speak to your fucking manager, like people are, oh, okay, here's 50% off, here's some coupons. No! If a customer is doing that type of shit to you, kick them the fuck out. Don't take that type of shit from somebody. Not only is that like fucking rude, but that's like very immature type shit. You're being a fucking crybaby. Because the fact that a jacket was $2 more than you wanted to pay for because you wanted to be a cheap piece of shit. You're going to start cussing at us. And then, of course, a manager, but, oh, okay, I'm sorry. We want your business. And it's like, who gives a shit if that fucking customer leaves? Especially if you're a popular place. Like, if I was a store manager at Walmart, I wouldn't give two shits if you fucking left my store. Or I'm never coming back to this location. Bye. Have fun going to the next Walmart 3 towns over. Because this is the closest one to you, buddy. And I'll see you next week. That's another thing. People say, I'm never coming back. When I used to work at Giant, I used to hear so many times as a cashier, I'm never coming back here. There was a Shoppers a couple blocks down from where Giant Food was. I would still see those fucking people come back to Giant because they didn't want to drive the extra couple blocks down to Shoppers. They would come back. because a lot of customers look for convenience. There's some people that might be like, I want to go to this store, but I'll drive a few miles down more because this place is cheaper. Convenient shit like that. But if there's no place nearby, they're going to fucking come back to your store. They will. Because, no one wants to waste the extra gas unless it's actually worth it. You know what I'm saying? If there's a dollar store that sells Hot Topic shit for cheaper, they're going to fucking go to, even if your place is 5 miles away from an actual Hot Topic, they will pass by that Hot Topic because of the fact that your shit is cheaper and it's convenient. Or vice versa. If your place is closer and the other Hot Topic is expensive, like if it's like if both places cost the same, they're going to go to the most convenient store. They're not going to drive the extra 5 miles to go to another place where it's the exact same price as the place that's 5 miles closer to them. You know what I'm saying? So they'll say they're not coming back. It's like a relationship. They get into an argument with their girl or boyfriend. They won't talk to him for a couple days and then be like, come back like 3 weeks later, I was out of line. I'm sorry. Except they won't apologize to us. They'll just come back and fucking shop and act and just pretend nothing fucking happened. So, yeah, don't get distraught that a customer said, I'm never coming back to this location. Because number one, I'm thinking to myself, okay, good. That means I don't have to deal with your shit anymore. That's pretty much what I'm going to be thinking. Like, good, I don't have to deal with your shit anymore. Second thing is, I'm like, yeah, he'll be back. There's no other business that's closer. I mean, unless you want to fucking drive all the way uptown, like north of Las Vegas, then you can do that. Have fun driving. But it's just funny how some of these customers act. But yeah, if a customer is fucking cussing at you and all that type of shit, if you have security, call up security. Say, hey, yeah, I got this customer cussing me out. Throw him out. Now, I've been a front-end manager for a while now at my job. Out of all the front-end managers that have came and gone, I'm the only person that has kicked someone out. Of course, you need permission from your boss, the store manager at the time. I said, hey, this guy's cussing me out and all that. We got to kick him out. I tried reasoning with him. He's not having it, and he's continually swearing at me. And this guy he was cussing at me and all that type of shit. I was like, yeah, you need to go. I was like, LP to the front, loss prevention to the front, kicked his ass out. You're not going to if you're not going to keep it professional with me and, be a human being and not cry like a fucking baby, then get the fuck out the store. Like, I understand, like, hey, yeah, this is the store manager's store, but if I'm up front, that's my front end. You're not going to treat my fucking cashiers like they're beneath you. They are on the same level as you. The only thing they're doing is making your shopping experience easier. That's all they're doing for you. They are not above you. They are not beneath you. They are on the exact same level as you. But customers don't fucking think that. They think because the fact that they are spending their money here, they think they're the shit. You are not the shit. For those of you that are hearing this thinking you are the shit, you can jump off a fucking bridge. You can take a long walk on a short road, for all I care. You are not the center of the fucking universe. I have plenty of people that have complained and said, oh, I spent thousands of dollars in this store. I was like, oh, was it in our stock so you can own a portion of the company? No? Then shut the fuck up. Congratulations, you spent thousands of dollars. Well, guess what? Those thousands of dollars are now in my bank account. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And, of course, to really get on a customer's nerves, God bless. But that's just me. I truly think if more people had my mindset, I feel like customers would probably be more civil and wouldn't be as much dickheads as they are. Because I don't give two shits. You can tell me you're fucking leaving. I don't care. I'll be like, all right, sir, have a good one. Because I would say for majority of the time, customers will complain and still buy shit and fucking leave. Like, you already given me your money. I don't give a fuck. And even if you don't give me your money, fine. 15, 30, 50 more people are going to take your spot? Bye. I'll tell you, when it comes down to customers are such big pieces of shit, or at least for the majority of them, I'll give you guys a couple examples. A few months ago, there was an elderly woman that didn't realize her car was in drive, and she slammed her car through the front end of the store, pinning someone that was at the register up against the car. Now, I wasn't there. I left like maybe 45 minutes after that, before that happened. So I was shocked when I heard about it in the news, because I was like, fuck, I was just there. Holy shit. And, I called the store, too, because when I heard about it, I called the store, and the store manager was there, and I was like, hey, is everybody all right? And I said, one of the people that was at the register is getting transported to the hospital, but, not in serious condition. And I was like, do you need me to come back up there? Do you guys need anything? And she was like, no, we're fine. Appreciate it, though. I appreciate you calling. I was like, all right, well, are we still coming? Am I still coming in tomorrow? Because I want to prepare. Because if I'm not going to work, I'm fucking do some shit out of there plan for that week. She was like, yeah, just come in. We're gonna have a meeting about it to see if we're gonna continue hours of operations and stuff like that. I was like, okay. So when I came back, one of the loss prevention people that was there at the time told me that even though there was a fucking car, like half of the car. The first half of the car was sticking inside of the store, knocking several registers over. There was still people in line complaining, saying, hey, am I going to be able to buy my shit? I've never been more disgusted of human beings ever in my life. The fact that there was someone pinned up against a car between a register and a fucking vehicle. People had the audacity to say, hey, am I still going to be able to buy my shit? Like, no! Two of the loss prevention people that were there at the time were cussing people the fuck out. And I said, I don't blame you guys. I would have told people to kiss my ass and get the fuck out the store. If you're not going to help, get out. I was shocked that I heard that. That some people were like that. And I would have loved to know who those people were. Because best believe I would have told the asses, don't come back to the store. I don't want to see you. And if you guys are wondering, that person that was pinned by that car is now back at work. She was gone for almost a year. But she is doing fine. And, she's in good spirits and stuff. But she's already back at work because, she loves her job. But, good for her. But, yeah, that's how shitty some human beings can be. Here's another good example. The line was a little long. And one of my cashiers came up to me and was like, hey, Matt, this elderly woman was asking if you could take her, if she could jump the line. Because she's had foot surgery and stuff. And I was like, at first I was kind of, because I usually don't let people jump the line because it's kind of like, hey, if you're in line first, you're in line first, But I look up and it's like this really, really elderly woman. She had to be like at least in her 70s, She had a walker and a cast on her foot. So it's the type. I don't know if there's differences in casts, like if you had surgery or if you've broken your foot. But she had like a weird looking cast, and it looked like there was like bolts on the cast or some shit like that. But based on what she told me, she said she's broken several bones in her foot, so she had to get like major surgery to get her foot working again and shit. But this really sweet elderly woman, like 70, 75 at most, And you know, I felt bad a little bit because I was like, oh yeah, the line is pretty long. Last thing I wanted her to do is to, you know, have her stand there for, you know, 20, 30 minutes with her walker and stuff. So I truly felt bad. I was like, you know what? I was like, call her over. I'll take her at, you know, one of the registers. I'll ring her out. And the woman was very thankful. But a guy at the next register over, like I'm at register 7, the guy's at register 6. He's already being taken care of. His stuff's already getting scanned, and he's ready to pay. This guy turns to the elderly woman as I'm I'm interacting with her, and she was telling me about her foot and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that, and, you know. This guy turns over and said to her, you know what you did was messed up, and you know it. I'm like, what? Like, my head just blew up. I'm like, what? Like, do you not see that this woman has had foot surgery and she has a fucking walker, dude? And this guy's like, you know, he's a little bit on the elderly side because he's got like white hair and shit, but he had to be at least a little young. He had to be younger than her. Maybe his 50s, maybe like late 50s at most. And I'm like, are you joshing me? Like, I had to hit her with the josh. Are you joshing me, bro? I didn't say that. But luckily enough for me, this elderly woman was extremely sassy. She was a sassy black woman. She pretty much told him everything I was thinking. She was like, I'm buying my stuff, sir. I'm paying for my stuff, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I was like, yes. You know, for a 70-year-old, she had to be at least 70. I don't truly know her age because, you know, black don't crack, but she had to at least be in her, like, you know, 70-ish. She was sassy, like she was 25 though. I was like, yes, give him that shit. So I'm counting her money. You know, when she paid, I'm just sitting there smiling. I was like, asshole. And I decided to go ahead and play along with her since this guy wanted to be a dickhead. I figured I'd jump in and be an asshole to him too. And she was like, sir, you know, and of course, you know, luckily enough, I got a survey out of her too. I mentioned the survey to her. I was like, you know, just tell us about your shopping experience, you know, take the survey, you know, whatever. And she was like, thank you very much for helping me, sir. I do appreciate it. So I decided to chime in. I was like, ma'am, you're very welcome. You have a wonderful day. I played along with it, and she kind of smiled as she walked away, so it was kind of like, yeah, I like you. I was like, yeah, you're cool too. But it's not the end. This guy wanted his last act of revenge on me. Is that after I took her, I shut down my the register I was on, and you know I continued trying to clean up the front, make sure the cashiers had enough money in their drawers and stuff. So as I'm doing all that, as I walk past the guy who's just about done being wrung out, he says, "You know what I said was right, sir," and I was just ignoring him. And as my therapist says, or did say, I don't see him anymore, is like, you know. If you, and to be honest, you guys can do this too. I mean, it helps me. It might help you too. Is that, you know, if you want to say something to somebody, but you know, you're at work, so the last thing you want to do is cuss somebody out at your job and get fired, just say it under your breath. As pussy as that sounds, you know, it's like, oh, don't talk under your breath. Don't be a bitch. Like, I think it's acceptable at work. Now, because of being a dickhead, you know, and then, you know, you have one of those moments where the customer walks away and you're like, fucking dickhead. You know, it kind of feels good afterwards. So, you know, when that guy said that, you know, I'm walking away. I'm not even giving him eye contact. I'm just fucking ignoring him. I'm just going like, dude, I'm busy. Fuck off. But, you know, as I said that, I was just like, shut the fuck up. I just said that and my breath kept working. So his last desperate act of revenge, since I completely ignored him, is that he went to one of my bosses and made a complaint about it. And I know this because the cashier at Rungmouth says, like, hey, he's going to go talk to one of the managers about what you did. But it's kind of messed up. Manager's probably not going to care. I was like, yeah, probably not. Because, you know, it was a sweet old lady. So, you know, I saw him complaining and kind of like, you know, aggressively pointing at me. And then, you know, the guy left. I guess he didn't want to stick around. I guess he was like, I made a complaint. Yeah, fuck that guy. And I was like, well, no, it didn't work. So he went up and said, like, hey, Matt, what was going on with that guy? He was like, complaining about you. And I told him the story. I was like, well, there was, like, this lady, obviously, you know, had, like, major foot surgery done. And, you know, she had a walker and stuff. And, you know, I took her out of line, you know. Because it's kind of like, especially if we have, like, handicapable people, like, you know, if people have, like, a messed up leg or something like that, you know, we'll have them jump the line. Because it's like, you know, you can't stand on that fucking leg forever, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I did what any other manager would have done. So, you know, when I explained that to him, he was just like, you know, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, that guy sounded like he was being an asshole. And I was like, yeah, exactly. See why I like my bosses so much? They share the same vision as I do when it comes to assholes. You know, instead of saying, oh, no, you shouldn't have done that. Customer service. He's like, no, that guy was being a fucking dickhead. Fuck him. And, of course, if they didn't believe me, they could have just checked the security cameras. But that's what I mean about customers being so shitty, rude, and ignorant. Like, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. And it's like, I have stories for days from customer complaints. Like, there's only been one customer complaint that I was actually fine with. And this is a pretty... It's a short story, but I think it's something I can tell my grandkids about, even though they probably won't know who the person is that Coolio. And if you don't know who Coolio is, because I know this generation is probably like, who the fuck is Coolio? Cooler? Is that a new app? Coolio? Just look up Coolio Gangster's Paradise. Then, you know, you'll see what I mean. You'll see who that is. Is that Coolio came to my store, and he had this Asian chick with him, maybe his girlfriend, entourage, you know, whatever. But yeah, he was taking pictures with people in the store, you know, who was being pretty, you know, cool about it. No one was like, oh my god, it's Coolio, you know. People were pretty, you know, respectable about, you know, like, hey man, just came here to shop, you know, whatever. But this was like around the time where I just became a manager too. I think it's been like a couple months. And when someone was like, hey man, Coolio's at Register 7. I was like, oh shit. And you know, I was like, fuck, because it was like around the time we were a little busy. So it's not, I couldn't like just take out my fucking phone and like take a selfie with the guy. No. It sucks. I would have loved to have a picture, but what can you do? But on my fucking radio was probably one of the happiest moments in my life when it was like, hey Matt, do you copy? I was like, I copy, go ahead. Like, I need a price check at Register 7. I was like, oh, I get to do a fucking price check for Coolio. So I was like, nice. Fucking price check for Coolio. Because it's kind of like, there's some things that in your life that you never get to say. Or there's like always a group of words that may never come together to form a sentence. And I feel like not even in 100 or even 1,000 years in my life would I ever be able to say I did a price check for Coolio. So I walk over to Register 7 and he had a pair of Timberlands. And he was like, yeah, man. I was like, hey, sir, how you doing today? He's like, yeah, man, I'm good. He's like, yeah, man, these boots don't have a price. And I shit you not. This is what he says. And I quote. Yeah, man, these boots ain't got no price, and looks like a motherfucker wore these. No lie, I was almost fucking lost it when he said, looks like some motherfucker wore these. So that was the only complaint I've actually was okay with, because, you know, it was true. Because, you know, it did look like a motherfucker. I was like, yeah, it looked like a motherfucker. I didn't say that, but I was like, yeah, it does look like a motherfucker wore those. I was like, yeah, I said, I'll see if we have any more in stock, and, yeah, I'll get that price for you. He was like, all right, man, appreciate it. I was like, yeah. I'm walking back smiling. Everyone's looking at me like, man, I'm like, I'm doing a fucking price check for Coolio, man. You know, not too many people could say that. So, of course, I got him another good pair of Timbs, and they were the right size and everything. And he was like, yeah, man, appreciate it. I was like, no problem, man. You have a good one. So, like I said, it was a very short story. It's I did a price check for Coolio story. I know it wasn't a mega superstar, you know. I'm pretty sure there's some people that can say like, hey, well, that's cool and all, but you know, the Migos came to my Foot Locker and bought some shoes, you know. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that can beat my story or compare with my story. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the first person to do a price check for Coolio and all, but it was kind of like one of those things where I didn't even know he was in the store. I just heard from one of the associates on the radio saying, like, they just got on the radio and said, like, hey, whoever loved Gangster's Paradise or was a Coolio fan, he's in the store right now taking pictures with people and shit. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh, man, I hope he buys some. He's going to come to the front. And lo and behold, he did. Bought himself a pair of Timbs and a couple shirts and his girl. I'm assuming to be his girlfriend. I never remember seeing an Asian with him at all, like if he's walking around or anything, or I don't know. But yeah, I feel like not too many people. I mean, I'm pretty sure a few, but I feel like not too many people can say I did a price check for Coolio. So I've been rambling on for almost an hour now. And I feel like that's a good time to end this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this hour long of me talking and staring at a photo that I poorly made. Because like I said, it's the first episode. It's going to be a little in the beginning, as all episodes or premieres or plots episodes go. But if you guys do like it, please hit that subscribe button and, you know, ring the little bell a loony to be notified when I upload episode 2. And I don't have really a set schedule for these yet, but they'll be on whenever. Like I said, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, and you'll know when I upload them. All right. This has been a Matter of Fact with Matt the Funny Man, and I will see you guys in the next podcast.